2026 work session on this date, January the 8th, 2026. Call this meeting to order. Ask for public comments. Seeing none, we'll move to approval of the minutes. This has been provided to you in your package. This is the review of the minutes of the December 4th, 2025 work session minutes. Are there any corrections to these minutes? If not, they will stand approved as presented. We'll move now into our department reports. And first, we have Jonathan with the IT department. Sorry, Jack. That's fine print there.
Morning, everybody. Just want to start out by saying that we got the sound system working. It wasn't working last meeting. And I got 2 of the new servers that we have in the back room. They needed some updates. We got those set up. We were finally able to get the SRO officers set up to where they can access the record management system without having to jump through hoops like they were in the past. I've got 2 of them set up. One was on leave, so we're going to get them set up this week. They're liking it so far, and I'm super glad that they can do that easy and not have to do, because they used to get kicked out by the other officers whenever they would log in. Anyways, also, after evaluating the public entities partnership grant we were going to apply for, we realized that they were only going to cover half of the fishing training that we wanted to get, and it cost upwards of $3,000. And I don't think the city would want to cover half of that just for training. So I was able to create a PowerPoint. I think you guys were able to get that. I think I did that 2 days ago or yesterday. Sent that out to every employee here in the city. And I finished distributing all the iPads. I think everybody has one now. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to call me about them. Hopefully they're working good for you. That's my report. Do you guys have any questions?
Any questions? You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Do you want to share with them what you would be doing at 9 with the police department?
What was that?
While you're leaving early, the reason you had to leave.
Oh yeah, no, we're getting new printers. Getting 7 new printers. 3 here, 3 at the police department, and 1 at the fire department.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be on my next report.
Oh, okay. That's all good. Love him up. Now I'm moving into Public Works. Director Jack Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. All right, we'll just get right into it. Got a few things here. First thing is fleet management update. Basically, just all we've got to do on that is we did have a meeting. Mr. Owens called. The meeting was Mr. Owens. It was the police department, parking recs, and IT. So what we're trying to do is what we're doing with the fleet management, just get us started, identify the initial things the city's going to need. That's one reason we wanted to include IT. One of the big things is for fleet management, the software, because it's going to be the guiding factor to what software the city's going to need to get us through. So that's basically what this meeting was about, to kind of begin to identify what vehicles are going to need to be replaced, how we want to go about it, what's going to suit the city, purchasing options, things like that. So we're going to work on that, and our plan is to try to have something by September of this year of course, for my committee. I've worked with my guys because they're really great, Alder and Keenan, and have something to bring to you guys hopefully in September to begin to put something together. So that's kind of where we're at, very ground floor with fleet management. So if you guys have any questions on that. Okay. All right, next thing is sidewalk. So a lot going on there. We were awarded or finally okayed our multimodal grant for the north side of the sidewalk. So we had a committee meeting on that. Mr. Owens called together. That committee was, it's the Planning Codes Department, Finance, Mr. Owens, myself, and Debbie Williams. So yes, the multimodal grant for the north side of the square is $1.2 million. So it's between, we're only going to do the square. It's between Main and Elk. It's just the theater side. So what we're going to do with this Mr. Owens also did a subcommittee of a committee. That's the mayor, myself, and Jill Smith. We're kind of doing a review of the plan that's current for that side, just to begin to look at things, take what we learned from the others and begin to look at that. It's just a review. Once we get some ideas together, he's going to involve Croy and let them look at some of our ideas to make sure, we're still in line where we should be. And then the next phase, of course, would be to present something to an engineer, have it actually officially an engineer look at it to make sure it's okay as far as state compliant, ADA compliant, and all that. And then once all that's done, we would work through my committee again, let those guys, put their 2 cents in and everything. And then ultimately, it would be bring to you guys to approve anything that if anything was changed on the current plan. Not saying there would be, but if it is, then you guys would be the final say on approving that. And then from that point, that would go to TDOT and get their approval, and we would be ready to create a bid package. We don't have any timelines as of right now, as far as I know. Is that right? There's no set time?
Well, with TDOT, you've always got to meet their time.
Right, we have deadlines,
Yes.
but we don't,
So
as far as an
kind
actual
of
bid
give-
package, we don't have a time to say when the bid package will go out and the work will begin,
Right.
such that. We don't know that yet, but I think the big thing at this point right now, we're gonna sit back and kind of review what's presented right now. But anything that's changed from what the board has approved in the past would have to come to you guys, let you guys put your blessing on it again if we make changes.
The board will need to look at it in detail and, be familiar with it, because before we present this to the public or put it out, we want to make sure the board is happy with it, questions have been answered, and, like Jack said, we really learned a lot of lessons and more of our needs.
Yeah.
With the.
There'll be a public hearing, I believe, too, once we.
We will have a public hearing once it has been approved. Then also remember on this grant, on the north side, and before we were working with bond funds. And with the bond funds, we make the decisions as we went. This is a TDOT grant.
Yep.
So we go exactly by what TDOT tells us to do. They'll take into consideration our plans and our wishes and things, but they will guide this program.
And it's very, very strictly ADA driven, so we have to meet all that. So just because we go back there and say, hey, let's just move this over here, looks good on paper, but if it's not accessible and ADA and TDOT approved, it's not gonna happen. So ultimately, they'll have to bless it.
And for clarity's sake, we are referring to 2 different grants. So Jack
Yeah.
is referring to the TDOT multimodal that we received almost 2 years ago. And there are some things we do have to do. We have to do a public hearing that we're planning for sometime in the spring. He had mentioned about reviewing, so we're making sure we got our stuff in order prior to that time. So we're working with Croy, but we will have a public hearing that will be well advertised prior to really moving on the project. But the second one that's on the agenda today is a TAP grant, and you may have received an email over the holiday from the mayor. We still have to, as a board, we have to accept and approve that grant, so we're working the preliminary details. I've been talking with Loretta for the last week about funding, and we still have to do some initial, but the board would have to officially accept the TAP grant before we're able to really invest and get moving on that.
I have a question of kind of the overview timeline that you mentioned of kind of the process. So your committee is looking at reviewing the current plans, and then you would make recommendations and have an engineer look at them. I would ask that maybe that before that engineer looks at them the first time, because we're going to have to be paying for engineering time, that we get the input from the board committee and maybe a work session committee, because I don't want us to keep double dipping on engineering time. It's expensive, and we don't want to have to keep paying that for that. So I'd rather get all the info from the board here before we present it. And for some reason, if it goes to the engineer, they're like, okay, yes, that we get your wishes. Unfortunately, that's not how it works, which is generally how it goes. I just don't want to keep.
We want to be very transparent.
Yeah.
Very transparent.
And then I just want to make a point about, you mentioned that the north side has to be very ADA compliant, but the other sides also were ADA compliant?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, not that they weren't, but
Right.
this, but and yes, when I said it, the whole project has been ADA driven. That's
Right.
the driving factor behind, the whole design was really, I'm not gonna say forced, but it's ADA driven. That's why the design is the way it is.
Yep.
Until, of course, the engineer got created, but it's ADA driven. In the end, it has to be accessible. We have to be. So. But the review we're talking about now is just the north side. Like Mr. Owens said, the TAP grant is strictly, it's two totally different grants, two different projects. But right now, we're concentrating on the north side of the square. Anything else?
And, this TAP grant is a 80-20
Yep.
grant.
It was.
80% TAP, 20% from the city, so.
Yeah, and the amount of that was $500,471, I think. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
In 3 years the 3-year grant.
Anything else?
So.
All right, so as far as the paving update, I guess you guys can see that Lincoln Paving was able to get 4 blocks of Bellevue. We paved that. They did pave Bluff Drive. Those were on our radar for some of the worst. We have around $250,000 left in our paving budget for the street department. So Lincoln Paving won't be available to do any paving for us probably until spring. I'm gonna get back with Mr. Owens and then work with my committee to kind of figure out what we want to do with what's left. Put our priority where they need to be. Like I said before, we always had Clay on our radar. We've had Kiwanis on the radar, and Hedgemont is there's just not enough money there to do it all. But we will put the money to the best use we can for the city streets, and we're doing the best we can to get these streets fixed, and hopefully there'll be more that we can do next budget year. But that's kind of where we're at with our budget money. And we were also able to get Lincoln Paving to do a patch, put a binder course down between Lincoln and Washington, that intersection there, so, which was much better than what it was. So.
I noticed you are doing some patching with concrete again.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, and that's, some of that is where there's gonna be a lengthy period where we're having to do concrete. If we feel like we're coming right behind them, we're doing just more of an asphalt or a binder that we can come back over. But anything that's gonna be there, would have to be concrete that'll stay with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you've presented the list to us on kind of the priority of what we think the streets are gonna be paved at. Can you explain, I think there's been some question in the public on how that list was created, just kind of an overview of what you kind of.
Well, there was
or if it wasn't just you, I'm not saying it was you that wrote the list, I'm saying as a general.
Well, it was kind of collective effort. When I first got here, there was a list of the streets were rated. I'm not sure when that rating was done. We took that and looked at it. And of course, then now you said as there's been more utility work done, there's more patching down. And basically just the deterioration of the street. Jeff Waxter, my assistant director, and I have driven them. We've driven with Mr. Owens, and it's just a visual look at what's worst, what needs to be fixed. That's kind of how we're prioritizing.
Okay, and then Mulberry Avenue, I think, of course, that's a state
Right.
grant. But do we know that is that complete and that's how it's gonna sit, or
I
are we
think,
gonna have to go back and fix
talking
that?
a little bit with TDOT, I think the crosscuts they're still in the packing stage, so those will probably be some more work done there. As far as the parallel cut, as far as what I've heard, right now, that's the finished product at this point. I know there's a plan, TDOT has plans to eventually do some paving, repave the highway, there's everything, but I don't know when or what year. I know Main Street, that's in the works to be repaved by the state, but I don't know timeframes at all. But as far as what I understand at this point, I'm not, the parallel cut, the main cut along Mulberry Avenue, some of that section is the final product at this point. Now, like I said, when I'm talking about the perpendicular cuts that go, those cuts there's still some I think they're still allowing some pack in there, and then they'll come back and smooth that back out.
Okay, are you the main contact with the state, or is the state going through FPU?
FPU,
Okay, so maybe I would request that we have a contact with the state to understand a timeline of
Okay.
when they're gonna do that.
all right,
And not just specifically to the crosscuts, I'm talking specifically to when we know that either they're gonna touch Mulberry again
right,
and pave it all.
okay,
I think there's just concern that
yes, yeah,
it doesn't seem like they've not put it back like they.
yeah. And their contract calls for it to be and it has to meet a TDOT standard and
Right.
as was undisturbed, before it was disturbed. And, which is a good point, because now, Brett Dye has put out that they're gonna begin to go out Main toward Bright Avenue, so they begin to cut that, so, which is still state highway, so, okay.
And TDOT, in the meetings that I sat in, TDOT paving list is about as long and slow as ours. So I don't want people to think it's gonna be next month, or in a month,
Right,
or the next month, because their paving list is long and slow too.
Mhm.
So we're probably looking at next year.
yeah,
So
I just know
want
that
people
we're on the hook for how it looks right now.
Yeah.
I mean, people can complain about TDOT all day long,
Yeah,
yeah,
but we're the ones that are on the hook for the way that our city streets
Yeah.
are.
yeah,
So,
yeah, we are, and we hear it, you're right, every day, so,
and I think the infrastructure, the water infrastructure and improvements were very much needed, because these
Yeah,
water lines,
absolutely.
some of them have never been replaced.
Yeah.
Some of them 60 years, 70 years, well, I mean, we're looking at aged, old infrastructure that had to be done, but I think as this forward, anything going forward, we need to look at that grant or that funding, whatever is coming, whether it's through FPU, whether it's through us. Is there paving money in that grant?
right,
Because the city can't keep up with everything that's being torn up right now with paving money.
yeah.
So that's definitely something that we need to look at in the future, is to make sure that there's paving money. You know, yes, if TDOT's gonna come back, you know, we can't control them, but
Right.
any city streets, I think we need to look at that and make sure that that's what we
Yeah.
get done.
Yeah, we definitely need to figure out a way to assist her along with the contract somehow, and in the future,
Right.
our part with that, so, yeah.
And I'm sorry. But I would like to think, maybe if not paving right away, some striping around those areas that are faded. Perhaps ask a question of that for sure.
Right now, does it look like they're working on the city portion of that road as well? You know, where it splits, where it's like state, then city, and then state again?
Where at, Tanya?
Right there going towards Mulberry?
Yeah.
So we'll have to repair that as well too, won't we? We'll be responsible for that section.
Well, I mean, ultimately, the contractor is responsible to repair anything and put back to where
Oh, okay.
they found, but, you know, if we come in behind them and something happens, you know, we've had a couple cases where some of our catch basins and drains, we've had to just come in and destroy the street. That's been on us to repair
Right.
that. Perfect example is Lincoln and Washington, where I'm talking about, we had to, you know, they did their part, but once we got in there, we totally destroyed, and we were responsible to put that back. Yeah, but anything that they disturb is their responsibility.
And in the past, when we did the Edison Street, all that was on the city.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, but we need to, because our city streets do look bad. They
Yeah.
look terrible, and
Yeah.
people are talking about it, that's one of the first things they talk about.
Yeah,
Streets
I
look
know.
like.
And we're very limited in our funds to pay. We've gone through, I think this board gave us 600 or so thousand, and we've gone through a pretty good chunk of that. We're around 250 left is what we have to work with. Kind of leery, we've talked with Mr. Owens about spending every bit of that because we don't know what we're gonna get into in an emergency situation where we're gonna need some of that. I don't wanna commit a whole 250,000 to go over here and do Hedgemont or Clay or one of those, whichever is the priority. And we're sitting there laughing, and then we hit into a minor disaster like we've done with these culverts and things, so.
If we get a timeline for TDOT, when they're gonna do their section of the highway, the highway,
Mhm.
I'd like to see us set aside money so that we can do our section about the same time, so it
Right.
doesn't look
Exactly, yeah,
bad.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be in touch with them, so. Anything else on that? All right, well, that's all I have on that. As far as the department update, we're pretty well full staff. We have a new guy started Brian Mitchell started with us this week on the sanitation route, so we're glad to have him. And as far as that, we're still rolling along. We've had quite a few complaints on leaves. I'm sure you guys probably maybe have too. I don't know if you're getting calls, but we're working on it. We have 2 leaf machines. The truck pulling one machine went down. The machine pulled by the other went down, so we had to finagle around. The garage guys work miracles, and we got one machine put together, so we're doing the best we can with leaves out there. We're getting them the best we can. So if you get complaints or calls, we're working on it. And we're still waiting on our garbage truck, so. Sanitation truck.
I think you and Nathan may need to take a trip.
Yeah, he's a pretty big guy. I need to take somebody.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And I say this, I say sanitation because Mr. Williams correct everybody else when we say garbage trucks.
Next up, we have the police department, Chief Jennings.
Morning, Mayor.
Morning.
First, I apologize, been a little late. Been up all night with the bug. Start with animal control. We currently have 34 dogs in the shelter, and 20 were transferred out. Everything's going good there. I'm really excited about the team we put together there. They are adopting animals out. I think there was a total of 16 dogs adopted last month. And so I'm really proud of the job that they're doing, and they're working hard for us. The police department, we currently have 4 officers, I believe. Officer Folsom, Jenkins, Summer, and May that need to have oath of office next week. And then as far as update, police department's doing well. We're currently fully employed, fully staffed, and we have 2 officers that are just started the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy last week. So they should graduate here real soon, and that will be we'll have a fully certified staff. So everybody's doing good, and as far as the department, we're doing really well. That's pretty much it today. It's a short day for me.
I can tell you don't feel good. I know you're stressed.
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank
Excited that you're fully staffed.
you. Yes.
So hold it back to that.
Okay, now for the fire department, Chief Bergman.
Good morning, happy New Year. I don't think I want that bug. First up, I have a site plan for the crematoria. I kind of put together a little package for y'all. I wanted to give you some ideas and some information on what could go in that area. I know we had this big topic on some rezoning, and I put together a few pictures for y'all, and I'm gonna walk through them. The first one that's titled The New Site, College Street West. If you look in there, and please, I'm not an artist, but you see a little box drawn out that's highlighted. If that property was gained rezoning, that's where that building would sit. If you scroll down to the next picture, where it says the old site, this is what was presented to our committee and our utilities. It was getting ready to be submitted, and it was pulled back, trying to get rezoning. You see that same box is put into that lot. That lot there has all the zonings to accept this building. Still gotta go through some process and get approvals, but it is already zoned for that. Why is that important to the fire department? It's all about access, fire department access. the new site that's trying to seek rezoning is better for the fire department, as far as access. The old site still meets the code on access, but it's not ideal for us. It would give us a few challenges if we needed to utilize an aerial truck, or we needed to utilize a apparatus on the back side of the building. The the new lot trying to get, rezoning, there's parking lots on almost all sides except for one. For us, for a safety side of things, it's better for us. I'm not saying I want it rezoned or I don't want it rezoned. I just feel like it's my side to tell the board that the rezoning would be better for the fire department and the fire department only. Do you have any questions on that?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
You said, it could be placed but would need other approvals.
Yeah, it still has to go through planning commission, it still has to go through utility, it has to go through utilities, then it's gotta go through the planning commission, but it's already zoned for that. And only thing that, in my opinion, that could fail that is if something in utilities was off, or, I don't know about the planning, that'd be a Christie question on that one.
Okay.
She
Well,
could answer
because if
that.
it's already zoned C3, why would it need to go back to planning commission
For the building,
to actually have occupancy?
building permits and stuff like that. There you go, site construction.
Got it, okay.
Do you mind if Mr.
I don't mind
Brown
at all.
speaks?
I work with him all the time, with him on this
Mr.
project.
Brown, would you come forward if you don't?
Is that okay, Kevin or John?
It should be, just a.
If we talk about the site plan?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, this is strictly site plan.
Mhm, it is.
So on the site plan itself for the new building, will there be a gate to gain access from Market Street in the event of a fire?
Well, in the event of a fire, they can access both parking lots. I think that's what he's alluding to, that it gives him like a 360-degree perimeter to work with fire, or if you put it in that zoned lot that's currently capable of it going there, it kind of gives them some obstacles to work around because of the adjacent buildings.
Exactly. If you look in that picture, you'll see that adjacent building, that is like a lean-to where they store cars and stuff.
Right.
It still meets the separation, however, it is a little challenging for the trucks.
That's one of the reasons we really pushed the lot that we're on. I think I explained it to Mr. Bradford earlier that, you know, basically aesthetically pleasing for the neighborhood, that's the best lot. For the fire department, it's the best lot. And it just makes the most sense. It's gonna be heavily buffered by, you know, landscape. You know, trees are already on two sides of it right now. And it'll look as well as any structure up and down any one of those streets, either the front side or the back side. And I think aesthetically, it's more pleasing there. If I lived in that neighborhood, that's where I'd rather have it at, opposed to the concrete parking lot, which would make it look a lot more commercial.
And there's not much difference between where the building can sit now with planning commission approvals or where the building could sit.
Right.
And there's not much footage difference, it just sets the building back into kind of like a corner
Right,
almost.
it looks from the picture that the building's pretty much in the center of the property.
So, and plus we're pushing it back towards the commercial parking lot that borders it on the north side to keep it away from the residential as far as we can, meeting our setbacks and all.
Yeah, and that's the only reason it's set in the middle of that property, just because of the zoning around that one box, or that one parcel.
Is that sizing right there a good representation of how much it'll take up of that lot? Like, do we think that it's really,
Not to scale.
okay, that's what,
I don't see not to scale on here.
yeah.
If you look on
I
the
need a
very
full
last
reference
page,
stamp on it.
on the very last, that's what the
Yeah.
building will look like.
Well, you can think about how that's scaled out too, because that's a couple 100 feet there, so in reference to the scaling of the drawing, in reference to the scaling of the building, they're pretty close.
Okay, that's my question, yeah. Good job, Davey.
Any other questions on the site plan?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Barry.
So will this move forward, or was that just information?
That's
It was just information for
Okay,
y'all.
okay.
I just, the last few meetings, I was, listening to some of the questions and concerns, and I just felt like I wanted y'all to know that information. The next on there is the food truck inspection dates. I told y'all previous meetings, we're changing the dates on that. We are now on appointment only. We've already utilized that this year already, and it seems to be working very well. The process that is still, contact the city office, they'll transfer you to the codes and planning, they'll tell you how to do all that. They call and say, hey, I need a food truck inspection. We either do it that day or say, hey, I can do it the next day or the day after. We just look at our calendar and make it happen. The twice a month, it was a great idea at first. It was really not utilizing our time appropriate. So now we're just saying, hey, we're just gonna fit it into our busy schedule, and hopefully we can do it the day of, so it's not any inconvenience to our food truck operators, but if not, the day after or the next day. So hopefully that'll work very well. The next on the agenda I have is my update. Of course, we finished our toy drive. It was a wonderful success. Giving you a few numbers, we had 702 children. That was 338 families. We'd love to give a special thanks to FPU, the Elk Valley Times, the Rotary Club, the Exchange, Triad Package, Big G, the Lincoln County Fairgrounds, and the entire toy drive committee. The committee, worked very hard to make this successful, and I'm very proud to sit on that committee. I also want to give a thanks to Mickey's Garage. They, our toy drive only serves to children to the age of 12. Usually, the police department can pick up all of our, the FTO is what it is. They pick up all of our overage children. They do a fantastic job of that. This year, we had a little bit over 40-something children that aged out of our toy drive. And when I was talking to Mr. Young, and he said, oh, I don't think I can take that many. So I had about 23 children that was not going to have any toys for Christmas. Well, one of our engineers that worked for the department, he said, I believe my wife can help with that. So he talked with her, they put together a little fundraiser. They raised over $4,000 and said, hey, that's what we want to do with the funds. We want to take care of those overage children. So I said, well, hey, I can help with the logistics side and the planning and all the stuff. If you can get the money, I can help with that. So at the end of that, they ended up donating $1,044 to our organization, Toy Drive. So I wanted to give a very special thank you to them for that. All of our apparatuses in the department are up in service right now, so that is a good thing. The department completed their EMR refresher. It's a 2-year class that we have to do every 2 years. They completed that. The admin office is starting the wonderful budget planning process. Our 3 new employees are preparing to go to the academy for the recruit class. They go at the end of February. They are doing fantastic and really growing to the department very well. I'm proud of them. We have added a few part-time / volunteer employees to our staffing to help with the overtime with those 3 until they get certified, and then we'll just utilize them throughout the rest of the year once they get certified. We have promotions will be announced in a few weeks for our captain position. And the final thing we're doing is we're working with Jack. We've had a little bit of water issues for a few years, and me and Jack is trying to put together a plan to see what kind of money and mitigation that's going to take to move the water somewhere else or reroute it somewhere instead of inside the base. We had a small little hiccup. Luckily, it didn't damage nothing, but it added enough stress to damage enough toys. The heavy rains that we had Thursday before our toy drive give out, it flooded my bays at Station 2. I had roughly about 3 inches of water, and I had toys in there. So 10 o'clock at night, all the firefighters had brooms in their hands, sweeping water, moving toys to dry our boxes, and I told Jack, I said, we got to do something about that. Luckily, it don't happen often, but when it does, it's devastating. And that is my report. You have any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on now to Parks and Rec, Director Browning.
Good morning.
Morning.
First is our Fayetteville City Schools MOU volleyball agreement. You should have a copy there.
I've already, I think, emailed one to Mr. Jones, and just if you had any questions about that, it's our third year of volleyball. We've grown the past 2 years, looking for a great year. I spoke with Miss Monty over at the Fayetteville Middle School. She's excited. She's agreed with all of our dates. So we are all ready to go in case y'all need to look it over, have any questions for it.
Okay,
Move that, right? Move that to
move
board.
that on, please.
And as far as our report, we do have a possible intent to apply for the outdoor recreation grant. Not sure exactly how we can do it or what we're gonna do, but we do not wanna miss an opportunity if there is one. So I'm not sure if we need to do with that, but we do have an intent to apply for that. And that's, I think, before the 26th of January. And the final is not due until 1st of April.
Mayor, on that note, Nathan and I, we did participate in the webinar, and we do have some things that we have to get in close to the next work session. Can we go ahead and ask for our formal, to apply for the grant during this cycle?
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Can you share with us what the grant would provide for? Is it a matching grant?
It's 80/20, from what I've gathered. I actually have tried to log in several times, and I've recreated my password several times, and I've not been successful in getting any further than the overall view. It's an 80/20. I've looked at some of the awards from previous cities, previous years. I think the only thing that really lines up from what I've gathered so far are recreational pass, or could be brand new areas for playgrounds. Of course, we've been looking for that for 2.5 years now. We just don't have the land that's not in a flood zone or go through the state where it doesn't let you pour concrete. So there's so many stipulations that we're trying to find the right avenue together to take advantage of this.
What's the max grant award?
They vary. I mean, when we looked at what was awarded, they had some as small as maybe 10,000 to maybe 300,000. Yeah, so they vary. I think, more, what did they get? They were the closest. Was it about 50?
50,000, I believe.
So when they did their splash pad, or bathrooms to the splash pad?
I'm not sure.
Yes, very recently,
Yeah.
or most recently.
Next, our spring sports registration is up and running, like I mentioned before, volleyball, baseball, and softball. We're up and moving on those, looking for another gain in our kids this year. That opened up the 29th of December, and we already have folks calling and registering on rec desk. So that's always a fun time of the year to get those kids talking about playing in the dirt. February the 7th is our kids' dance. We do it, this will be our third year doing that. Looking for some repeat participants. Mr. Bradford came last year and did a really good job dancing. And so we're looking forward to another great year of that.
Kevin, get out your dancing shoes.
That won't happen.
Yeah, Mayor and Mr. Owen showed up, and
We did go.
Nice
To see the children,
Yeah,
is
it
what
was
a great
great.
time they had.
I didn't dance.
I must have been over.
It's not, maybe Kevin and I can have a dance.
he's been caught dancing before. I think that's fun.
That's our cigarette.
And as far as our report goes, one more thing I forgot to add. I'm meeting today with someone who is interested in helping us out with what's called we call it a Fayetteville Champions League. It's a league for students with special needs who do not have an opportunity to play anything. I talked with Mr. Johnny about it, and he seems to be, we're good to go on the legal side of it for liability wise. So we're gonna explore that a little bit more today. So hopefully we'll be able to gain a lot of interest, not only from our city, but from surrounding cities that can benefit from this too. And as far as the report goes, the guys been working hard to get everything cleaned up. Christmas was great. We're cleaning everything up from that, working on a few bathrooms right now, and getting ready for rain tomorrow and a possible cold winter. So everybody's doing a great job over there, I think. And if you have any questions, I'll get them.
Thank you. Dan.
Thank y'all.
Okay, next on our agenda is the Planning and Codes Department. First, we have Attorney Hill on the first two items.
So the first item is the, kind of revisiting the prospect of creating an entertainment district in downtown. And there was a proposed, ordinance that I've reviewed and I've discussed with the MTS attorney, and we still have concerns about whether that bypasses what other cities have done where they've gotten state approval to create similar districts in some of the metropolitan areas, the larger cities in Tennessee. So I understand from meeting with Kevin that the recommendation right now is to probably take this up at strategic planning. So we had discussed having, maybe trying to bring the MTS attorney that I've been working with either in person or remote into today's meeting, but when we discussed kind of pushing this to strategic planning, you know, I would kind of look at maybe getting him involved in the process at that point. That's basically what I know about that issue.
Do we know who else is gonna be, from MTS at strategic planning?
Our facilitator will be MTS.
Is that
We met
Pat?
with,
Okay, cause I know that he's also the one that advised us last time on this entertainment district.
so, and who John is referring to is the gentleman you all met at TML.
Right.
After John saw him, I had to go to an MTS event, December 18th and 19th, and I saw him, so we kind of trying to get him on that schedule because he did give some input on it that I think he needs to share before the board.
I know that Shelbyville just recently voted on it. They have a, right now, currently, between two of their major restaurants downtown in the square, they had taken a street and blocked it off with balusters so cars cannot drive through there, and it's open air. And they are using that as an entertainment district, but they were voting on expanding that around the square. I have not talked to Mayor Carroll recently. Kevin, were you able to get in touch with him?
I have not actually tried to
Okay.
reach out to Scott, but it was not.
Yeah, cause I think we saw Scott at GovCon and he mentioned that they had just passed something in Shelbyville for it.
Yeah, well,
Or maybe it was,
I think that was something similar, probably where when they closed that street off, and it's really nice. I mean, it's open, it's bricked, it's, you know, it's really nice, but, they were gonna vote on it more citywide. The mayor said that he was against it, but he felt like it was gonna pass unanimously. So, we do need, I don't mind reaching out to him prior to strategic planning and see more of what they have and what they voted on, you know, as the extent of their entertainment district.
And I'll look into that myself.
Okay.
That's news to me about Shelbyville doing something, because I know I'd checked with them in the past and they hadn't done anything at that point, so.
Right, this was around November when I was, executive board meeting with South Central Tennessee Development District, and that's when he told me that.
And that, I mean, you mentioned the pedestrian area that they've created. I mean, that's something we've also been discussing internally is, you know, would there be an issue with the state potentially approving or not approving this proposal with two state highways running through? Yeah, I mean, you think about these entertainment districts around the state, the existing ones, I mean, they're typically in kind of a pedestrian area. And, you know, what we're proposing has two state highways running through it. So, you know, I don't know if that would affect how the state if we went the option of going to the state legislature, if that would have some impact on how they, you know, decided to accept or reject that. So.
and I think Pulaski who's the mayor over in Pulaski?
JJ Green.
JJ, they had just did something that, it's an entertainment district, except it's only event-based. So they can have it during special events. And I think that's also a door we should make sure that we're also going down if there's opposition to another avenue.
Well-
But because Pulaski they did it.
You know, we've been, for instance, the Sawbird Festival, and
Yeah.
we've been able to work within the existing framework to do, you know, but, you know, we have to kind of put up some fencing and things of that nature for that, but, I'll look at what Pulaski's done too.
Yeah.
Our strategic planning is January the 31st, it's on Saturday. That's when the board gets together, they meet, they plan for the years to come. So everybody, if you have ideas or someone that you want to talk to, you might want to do that, and this will be an item at the strategic planning. So if you have any information here, and I'll try to talk to Mayor Brimley too. Thank you, Mr. Hill.
The second item under planning and codes is we've talked about this in the past, but the request by a property owner to, well, he's actually asking that we grant him some property at the end of Fourth Avenue to access his property. And we've had several meetings since the board's last looked at this. Ms. Gentry and I have had some discussions with a local surveyor just to kind of get his perspective on this. And basically, what we would propose would be that the city retain ownership of the land, and we just look at doing some kind of easement to this gentleman that's asking for access to his property, and that solve some problems and potentially prevent some other problems. And you know, he'd probably prefer an outright grant of the entire property, but I think we could look at doing an easement over, you know, part of the property that's wide enough to put a driveway in without having to, you know, do the whole property, which, you know, hopefully would minimize the effect on the neighbors that had some concerns about what was being proposed. So that would be our proposal. I mean, we still would need to do some survey work to be able to do the paperwork on that, and I don't know if y'all want to move on this month, or maybe let, you know, kind of have this, if this proposal sounds all right to you all, if you want to let us kind of send this out to the area property owners and see if they want to be heard on it any further, or if y'all just want to move on it.
We own the property, are we obligated to grant the easement, or does he need to pay for the survey if he wants that easement?
I feel like since he's asking for this, he should pay for the
Yeah.
survey here.
I
So,
agree,
and
too.
you know, that'd probably be something to pass along to him, so, yeah, that's.
Also,
and-
will it
and-
require the city to clean the area or
No.
pave
No,
or
we wouldn't,
any?
we wouldn't be doing
maintenance?
anything, and that's, you know, the initial concern was, you know, could we be made to extend Fourth Avenue, that, you know, it's not a long distance, but Jack kind of gave me some numbers, and it was not an insignificant figure, so that was our initial concern, and I talked to the MTS attorney about that initially, and he, you know, at that point, he said, well, I don't think they can make you pave this, but you might have to give them an easement over part of it. So we kind of circled back around to where we started out, looking at the easement. So probably the minimum we would have to do here. And just, you know, we've tried to configure, you know, dividing this between the two property owners, and there were problems with every configuration we came with. So I think if we do an easement, a non-exclusive easement, so he wouldn't, you know, he wouldn't be able to be the only person, if we decide to grant somebody else an easement over the same property.
Yeah, I'm in favor of going that route. I don't know if that requires a vote, but
I think
we
that's the
need to
best
vote on
solution
it.
too.
I think, yeah, if we're gonna do any, if we're gonna, I'd say let's get board approval to, I mean, again, we're still gonna have to do some survey work, and I'm happy to do the actual instrument for it myself, but, there will be survey work necessary and an expense with that, so.
An expense would be,
not on us.
not on
No,
the.
no, that's, and
property
if you wanna move this to Tuesday, I mean, we could make, you know, doing the easement contingent on the grantee paying for the cost of the survey.
Is there any reason why we would not put this on a public auction with a minimum bid? And let it fall where it may, and then maybe actually gain some revenue out of it?
I guess that would, Alderman, that would be problematic in this particular case, just because, let's say, the other party bought this to try to prevent,
That's not the city's problem.
yeah, well,
Well, we have to provide access to the property, right?
Yeah,
And that's
I
the
mean,
only access.
you could say it's not the city's problem, but we'd be creating a new problem, and, you know, it might not be our problem to solve at that point, but I'm not sure I like the idea of creating a problem and then telling somebody else to go fix it, so.
And would the drive or the easement be restricted as, you know, you can't park a bunch of stuff on that easement? It's
Yeah,
for
I mean,
driveway,
yeah,
or
those are-
access purpose only?
Those are typically, or they're gonna say they're for ingress and egress purposes. There may be a need to put, language in it that says you could put underground utilities along in the area or something, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Chris, do you see any problem with this or questions that you may have for Jack, either one?
My recommendation would be to go this route and retain the property. If it was sold off, there's a parcel 33 back there, is that it would landlock if, Mr. Johnson, or the other adjacent property owner obtained it, which would create a whole nother issue. Plus, if we ever had to do any work, any utility work or whatever, it would be safest and the best for the city, in my opinion, to retain that property and do the easement route. And that was also the recommendation from the surveyor, because we looked at the other options too, and it would be potentially making non-conforming or landlocked. There was just no simple way to split that up.
So do we want to move this on, Johnny, with the understanding, do we need to get in touch with this gentleman that's requesting this? With the understanding that you're gonna have to pay for the
Yeah.
easement, but it will have to go before the board for a vote, it could pass, it could fail. But are you in agreement to this? Before we go to this,
I don't think we necessarily need his approval to do this, but,
well, to pay for the easement?
We
Well, we
won't
just
do it
vote.
unless he says, yeah, I mean, this is just to
That's what I'm
say if
saying,
we're
do we
going.
need his approval he is interested in
I mean,
paying?
I guess if he said, no, I'm not paying for it, so let's
Okay.
just forget about it,
Okay.
and we could forget about it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I don't,
So maybe
Think-
it goes to a vote for the intent. Our intent is to provide
Offer.
an easement only on contingent on him paying for surveying.
Okay.
I think that's fine.
Is that okay with everyone to move it on to Tuesday with that? Okay. We'll put that on the, agenda, please, Debbie. Okay. All right.
Item number 3 is for an ordinance to rezone 521 Market Street West from R3 to C3. This was the item that came to the November meeting and was removed from the agenda. So we're bringing this item back. We did have to update the ordinance number, so it would be 2026-01 would be the official ordinance that would need to be voted on for rezoning for the crematorium project.
Any questions on that? So this is moved from the November meeting to the January meeting with a new ordinance number.
Yes, ma'am. 2026-01.
And this will be, the request from the property owner is from an R3 to a C3, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions? If not, Debbie, we'll move that on to Tuesday night for the vote. Thank you.
And as far, I do have a quick department report. We've started the new year off on a really good note. We want to welcome Teresa Crabtree to our team. She is our new property maintenance inspector, so we're happy to have Miss Teresa and wish her the best in her role. She's in attendance this morning.
Hello, welcome.
On that same day, we also received the audit results from our on-site audit with the state, the residential building inspector supervisor that we completed in December. He went over our questionnaire, reviewed our paperwork, visited some ongoing construction projects. So we got a memo Monday morning that says, I am in the opinion that your office is adequately enforcing the adopted residential building codes and standards and is properly performing inspections. So he was very pleased with our paperwork. We did kind of go over our intent to move to the 2024 codes this year, and he gave us some good advice. He gave us communities that had recently went to those codes and supply that information via email. So we will be reviewing that. We're actually meeting, our first meeting next week with our committee, the Planning and Coast Department, Jack Williams and Chief Bergman. We're still planning to adopt these codes in July. So we're gonna begin going through the ordinances, getting those ready, seeing which appendices we need to opt in or opt out of. Cause it's gonna take a lot of work to get those ready for to come to the board for approval, but our goal is still to hold the public hearing in June and then adopt in July. So that's a big project for us this year. And then I have already reached out last week, right before the New Year's holiday, to South Central, trying to get information on if they're gonna do a home grant. Usually that starts the first quarter of the year, but I've not received any information back from them, because I know we'll need to do a resolution and stuff. So I'm gonna stay on top of that and see if I can get some dates and guidelines so that hopefully we can get some funds this year.
Will our submission of that include basically the same thing we submitted last time, or is there feedback we got that we didn't get the grant that we'll include now this time to hopefully get it this time?
A big reason we didn't receive funds last time is they sent most all of those over to West Tennessee for the flooding. So I know that impacted a lot of their decisions, but we will be reviewing the application that we sent in. I assume Ms. Tia will be our representative, and we'll go over and see if we need to add or change anything to make our application look better, or go over projects maybe that we started or have ongoing to help us be able to possibly get that.
Anything else? Thank you.
Sorry, is there an update on the grant to review some of the dilapidated buildings for, is it the Brownfield grant? Right. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything, probably because of the holidays, and I know that the government shutdown kind of affected some of those timelines, but hopefully we'll hear something soon. We'll reach back out to see if there's any word on that as well.
Thank you.
Thank
One
you.
other thing, Christie, on the rezoning of 521 Market Street, that has already gone through the planning commission.
Yes,
Okay.
that was either August or September. Yeah, it was September. It was approved by the planning commission, recommended up to the board of mayor and aldermen. We called for the public hearing in October and then had the public hearing. And then at that time is when it was removed at the November meeting. So this is how we got back to this point.
Okay, just wanted to, for the record, that it has gone through the planning commission.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, Christie.
Oh.
I was writing.
Sorry.
You almost got away.
Yeah.
I received an email, and I think some other people received an email about the enforcement of the food truck ordinance and how optically some seem to be enforced, some don't. I just wanna make sure we're paying attention to that. If there is, I'm not saying you have to give feedback now, that we are actively looking at that and understanding that if it doesn't seem to be enforced to some people, that looks bad on us. So I just wanna make sure that we
are
are.
actively, planning codes is actively enforcing and looking out for those things during normal working hours of our department. There has been some instances where some tents and different things have set up on the weekend, and we're trying to work with the police department in those scenarios, because sometimes when they come in, same thing with building permits, anything like that, if it comes in on the weekend, it's harder for our department, but that's when we lean on the police department. But yes, we're still actively, and the process is now smoother than ever because we have the option to pay online, all the applications and that information is online. We have the spreadsheet that stays updated, that's shared with fire and police. So we are very actively doing enforcement on that. But again, a lot of those Saturday and Sunday setups is where we're trying to get in touch with them. And in those instances where that has happened, Jill has actually reached out to that business to be like, hey, if you're allowing someone to set up, these are the rules, just to make sure that they're aware.
Okay.
So yes, we are definitely addressing those.
Okay, thank you.
We've already heard from Jonathan Maldonado at the IT department, so we'll move on to finance, Director Loretta Garner. We're sad to say, and happy for her, but this will be Loretta's last work session.
Yes. The first item is, the first two items are actually go together. The, last month you approved the new fund for the animal control so that we could segregate those monies that were coming in through fees and donations and et cetera, and fines or anything else, so that those could be segregated from those expenditures that are shared between the two entities, the city and county. But after we went and opened the bank account, now the bank has come back and wants our, to specifically approve the opening of the bank account and to also name those that can do business in that bank account, which will, even though I'll be leaving soon, it will include me because we've already started the bank account, we've already started the process. So you'll have to turn around then and rename some after a new finance director has been named. But you'll also have to do that for all the accounts. So at this point, I'm asking for for you to move the first two items on to be, so that we'll have those in the minutes of the board meeting so I can carry those to the bank.
Okay, Debbie, will you add those to the agenda? Okay.
All right, the next item is the budget calendar. I know you've probably gotten you have gotten a copy of that. Do anybody have any questions or comments on the budget calendar for the coming year? Okay, so I'd ask for that to be moved on to be approved.
Okay. And we'll add that one also.
All right, the next item is the budget amendment for this month. It's just a few items. The first is to, now that we've gotten through December, we've gotten the final numbers, and we need to transfer another $2,605 to that animal control escrow account. That's the remainder of what we collected versus what we spent out of those funding to establish that bank account. The next item is surety bonds. The new finance director will have to have surety bond. So we need to include that in the budget amendment. And the third item is we received funding from a grant from William D. Jones from years ago. We're just, this is like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We're just now getting the funding. That money has already been spent. The work was done a number of years ago. How many years ago?
It was being done when I arrived, so
Yeah.
close to 4 years complete.
Yeah, so all that is already cleared out, but we're getting the funding back, the reimbursement back from TDOT. And, with that is, the next item would be the, how do we wanna use those proceeds? It's $65,622. Some of the options that we have are, to use it to, in the police department, we had to cut a couple of the vehicles out of the budget. So we could use that $65,000 to, put one of those back into the budget. Another, possibility is to set aside those funds for that TAP grant, for the matching portion of that TAP grant. Another possibility would be to put the, last year when our budget, we cut $15,000 out of Parks and Rec for lighting and 40 to 50 for pickleball court restorations, and that could total 65,000. Or another possibility would be to place the funds toward the fire truck. Those are just ideas that recommendations we make. You have anything else that you'd like to add, Kevin?
Those,
Okay.
Okay, so these were funds that were paid into TDOT toward this grant. And at the end of the grant, when all the bills were paid and everything was settled, this amount was remaining, but it's set there till now.
Yeah, we're getting the
So,
reimbursement.
Yeah, so if the project had never been really closed out, we've been
Okay.
working with TDOT. And in the process of closing, we ended up getting a check after they did the counting. So this is where that 65,000 is reflective of.
Could paving be an option?
That's could be. Yeah.
Each way
And-
goes that, in my opinion.
Is this something we can carry forward as far as the discussion
Mhm.
of strategic planning?
We could, I mean, even next
I think
month.
that's a
Once
good
we determine
idea.
strategic planning, it may be a split among, it may be holding it aside,
Right.
it could be, but we determine what that is and then put that to a vote, so the public's tracking that as well.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll take that out of the budget amendment for this time, and then you can discuss it at strategic planning and go forward with it then later. We can go ahead with the revenue part of it, because we've already received the money, the money's in the bank account. But the expenditure, how you wanna expend that, you can put that off into, another budget amendment later.
One thing I want to talk about too, bringing up the fire truck, with you leaving, I want to make sure, something we need to talk about too, is we approved 240 2 years ago, 250 this last year. I don't want a new finance director to come in and think I've got this much in a capital budget that can go wherever, so. And I know Davey doesn't most of that, so it's, I'd love for us to put that in a CD by itself or something to keep that separate, that we can talk about in strategic planning too, but I don't want that to get away since we've already set it aside to get mixed up, because that's a good bit we've already got going toward that, and that's a big expenditure, so I want to make sure that goes where it's supposed to.
Is that set or identified in the funding in any way?
It's a part of the cash balance in the capital fund. It's,
With the line item, it's line itemed out
Yeah.
with the,
no,
Okay,
it's
it's
just a
just-
part of the cash. The thing about it is that you can't spend that on something else that's not already budgeted. In other words, that capital, anything else that's budgeted would have to be transferred from general fund. This board would have to approve, that's what I'm saying.
I think, Jeff, maybe what your concern is our next budget cycle, seeing it and then budgeting for something else.
Right, yeah, I don't want somebody to say, hey, we've got this much capital, we can buy
We can.
this many cars for another, something, and not knowing that's already put back for the fire trucks.
It would, I can see how it could happen, but it it would require your approval.
So you're saying it couldn't be moved
Without your
to
approval.
something else without?
Yeah. Because there's no, all the line items are budgeted for in the, capital budgets. And it leaves that cash balance in that account.
But
But it
within
would not-
the account, it's not identified.
But it's not identified in the account, no. I mean, we could do that. You could very easily
Right.
go open a CD for that.
Right.
Because you know that it's gonna be, what, another 2-3 years?
July of 2028.
Yeah, July of 2028, so we could do a CD, this board could do a CD and have it mature, that July of 2028. And that would set aside those funds.
Right, and you get a little more interest too.
Exactly. Not a bad idea at all.
Do y'all wanna talk about this at strategic planning? Do you wanna go ahead and move forward on it?
I'm good either way. I'm fine with voting on it now. If everybody else is okay, I think it'd be, like I said, it's more interest than what it's gonna get in a regular account or money market account, whatever.
Yeah, so, yeah, he just brought up a point where we probably should have it mature in January of 2028. To give it time.
So that would give us 2 years if we did it
Yeah.
this January to 28.
And it might not even have to be 2 years. Your best rates are gonna be shorter terms right now, so it'd be better off probably going with the shorter term where you wouldn't run into that issue anyway, so it's,
Yeah. And too, if you added, you could do it, to, mature in the next fiscal year, so that if you budgeted additional to go into that, then you could include that also in that. When it matured.
Would a gains tax be part of that? Is it sure?
I mean, that's just gonna be interest that would be, the city would, I'm sure, pay on it, yeah.
Loretta, would, between today and Tuesday, give you enough time to find the best interest rates out there?
Yeah, I would send out some emails. So are you looking at maybe doing a 1-year CD?
I mean, I think
6
I'd
month?
I'd get a couple of variations. I'd put in a 6, 9, and 12 just to see, like I
See
said,
what the months are.
I'd say
see what the
a
rates
6 or
are.
9 would get better than a 12 right now, just because things are looking to go down more in the next year, supposedly, rate wise, so.
So I'll.
And that's what we've done in the past. You have contacted all the financial institutions, gotten their rates by phone, and then we've written that out.
Usually I do that by email, so I have that trail, what those rates are. And I'll contact those that are in the city, those banks that are in the city, and have that done before Tuesday night.
Okay, Debbie, you have that on the agenda, please?
And the next item is the police and the fire department received a donation, real generous donation, and they are both requesting that those funds be used in their operating supplies line item. And the police also received a donation from an individual, and they were wanting to use that money in their operating supplies line item. The last item is an insurance recovery. Had some building repairs that we had to do for some damage, and the insurance proceeds from that was $863. And then at the very bottom is the transfer of that escrow funds, like we mentioned there at the top. We had to move it from general fund to that escrow fund. Have any more questions on the budget amendment?
Okay.
Sorry. All my papers are starting to come together. And the last item I have is the dome project. I think you received documentation where the school is requesting, this is just the paperwork where they received the grant, from the FEMA grant, and they are requesting that the board approve that, for those grant fundings.
So it says begin date 2/7/2025. This would be, that's last year, or is it supposed to say 26?
I think that was last
I
year.
would be happy to speak to it if it's allowed.
Yeah, come forward, please, Eric.
Hi, yes.
I know it to be dangerous. I said, I know enough about it to be dangerous.
I know a little more than that. What the document is the actual contract for the grant. The date that you're talking about was initially the date on that grant. On that contract, I had lengthy conversations with TEMA about it. There is an updated one that should have been in your packets that has an extension on it, which has been since that document came out. We were able to do that because there was a delay in the signature of this document. So the actual end date would be 2027. And then furthermore, there will be another required extension on this between here and there. What we're having is a scenario where we've got a federal process, a state process, and then our local process. So like, for example, in this signature, this has been, over a month. Well, the state sends a request to the mayor prior to your previous meeting with a deadline of the Monday before. When she's not comfortable without going through our local processes to go ahead and sign that, which is understandable. Everybody wants to be conscientious and make sure we're operating appropriately. I'd say that's fair. Is that
Well,
correct?
it's in our charter of municipal codes that I do not have the authorization to sign
Right.
this contract. The board gives me permission to sign it, so I
Right.
will not sign anything
And-
without board approval.
Yes, and so because of these types of scenarios, we've delayed, this has been delayed, so they've missed one of their deadlines. Well, in the meantime, we've asked for our first extension because we won't have this signature until potentially next week. That'll add another multiple weeks on the federal end because everybody's delay in process keeps pushing it down. So I've got a bid that was taken in the spring that right now the contractor is holding, but they don't have any obligation to hold. So what we've got is kind of a nearly impossible process. At the end of the day, the bottom line is this is the contract that TEMA has asked us to sign after much consideration, deliberation, and review. They said it is basically, this has to be signed in order for the process to continue, in order for us to get our, to process the request for additional funds, and to get the extensions. But because it was delayed, we were able to get one of the extensions already. Now, there will be a limit to the extensions. So the request is, if you would grant the mayor permission to sign the contract, and then sometime in the near future, I'd like to have permission to meet with Mr. Owens and potentially communicate with Mr. Hill about some type of a vote or an MOU that would empower the mayor to be able to take care of procedural, expected procedural signatures and things like that that'll be coming up. For example, once this is going, we haven't received our reimbursements for quite a long time, so that's costing us money. Well, there'll be some reimbursements that'll be in hundreds of thousands of dollars in the future. If those are delayed substantially, that'll be very expensive. So I'd like something that we can do to try to mitigate any problems that would arise from a scenario like that. And at the same time, still make sure that the board, mayor, and alderman and everyone gets all the information that you need, anything that's changing, and there will be a change. Obviously, once FEMA grants the additional funding, that they'll modify and update the contract again. And then at the end of another year, they'll ask for another extension. So there'll be like 2 or 3 of these that'll need to come before everyone. But I mean, the possibility, I don't know, we don't have to discuss the details right now. I just want everybody to understand what the scenario is and kind of what the bureaucratic policies and procedures that have created 6 years worth of delays are now trickling into our local governance. And we can't control the federal and state levels, but as neighbors, I think we could probably work together in a way that makes sure everybody knows what's going on, and we feel comfortable trying to work the process through to make this a more manageable scenario and feasible. So the request specifically is to allow the mayor to sign the contract.
So this is the actual contract from FEMA, not the request for additions
Right.
to cover what the overage was?
Right.
Okay. Under term of contract, the federal pre-award authority, I know some of us that work in government contracting understand that usually when that provision's put in, the money's not really there. It's giving an authority to proceed
Right.
with the understanding that you would get the money. Obviously, sometimes when that's in an award, and under a normal circumstance of a federal government that has not recently done rescissions on money to FEMA, that wouldn't be a concern. But I personally have a concern that currently the federal administration that's in now has went through Congress, taken money out of departments. Do we have a safeguard, say that this gets pulled through rescission through Congress, that there would be money from FEMA at least to pay for it?
The additional.
For any of it, if this is the main contract.
Well, this has already been set aside. This contract, this cash has been set aside. Our addition request, we cannot ask for the addition, which we don't have, until this contract is signed. Because right now, there's no contract. And the additional funding is through FEMA, it's FEMA money.
Right.
It's leftover COVID money. That's where we pull this tool out. This is not the only one. There's 6 others in the state of Tennessee that's doing this exact same thing. Back, 6 years ago when we first bid this money?
The first bid was 5.
5 years ago, you know.
About 5.5,
Did
or
you-
4.5, I'm sorry.
Nobody bid on it. It was in the middle of COVID. And that COVID money has trickled down to where the state has allocated 6 projects in this same identical situation. Where now we bid it, and it's above the budget. So these funds, even the extensions you're talking about, we cannot ask for another extension right now even until this contract is signed. We cannot get the $400,000 reimbursement right now until.
Yeah, I'm speaking specifically not about the extensions, about even the initial funding. Do we have proof that that money is in an untouchable bank account?
It's on the back, the very back page. You use your state ID number, federal ID.
And that's
number.
your question is valid. I asked the same question to TEMA, so I appreciate your conscientiousness in the matter. Yeah.
But I agree with Alderman Faulkner, could it be identified, but they could come back at any time and pull this funding, is that what you're saying?
I'm just,
Dealing with contracts.
well, I'm saying if it's in a fund that's in the state's hands and the money has really been transferred, then from the federal government, you can't rescind what's already been awarded. But if the assumption is that FEMA has an account and what it says is it's a pre-award, so that makes you think that this is not really money that's there. They're just giving you authority to go execute, knowing that you'll get funded back. So I think that what I would want to know personally is that money is truly in a bank account that makes me okay with saying, okay, we don't think Congress is going to rescind this.
If you look, we have to answer not to TEMA, but to the Tennessee Department of Military. They're the overseers. In fact, they're over TEMA. You know, that's who TEMA operates under. They're not a subsidiary, they are, but the Department of Military oversees them. That's who we have to answer to. But these funds, you have that award letter. Well, these funds, and we can make a call right there and take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like me to call?
If you have,
Shannon Paul
Well,
you
they-
feel
they-
free,
They're
but
expecting us, if we have a problem here, to give them.
if we know that,
I can go ahead and call him if you'd like me to.
yeah, I mean, we just need proof that the money's in an account,
Yeah.
that it's really gonna get to us and it's not gonna be rescinded.
Are we gonna do this with every grant from here on out?
I think
That's what
from a
I would
FEMA
expect
grant,
if we're gonna do it
my,
on
my
that.
concern, TEMA, that's fine, that's a state, they're not gonna rescind money. It's when it comes to the federal government, that is my concern.
Well, this award, if you'll notice, this award is to the state of Tennessee. If you'll notice that.
Yeah, so
They're the recipient.
yes, so has the federal government given Tennessee, if you can prove that that money is in a Tennessee account, my concerns are done.
My concern too, in this letter, dated February the 7th, on FEMA letterhead, Homeland Security, it references Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, gives the date, City of Fayette High School. It has the wrong name on there. Then you drop on down and it's got the subrecipient is proposing to construction a monolithic dome-style community safe room at the below locations. It has the city of Cookville.
Oh, I know, that's common
Well-
in federal government. But we have, you're the sub-recipient. TEMA is the recipient of this grant.
But it has incorrect information.
I know.
We're not the city of Fayette.
But it's all, that was in February 7th, last year.
25.
Yeah, last year. See, all this, by this new contract, all that, they made some changes.
If we, I think this is going to a vote on Tuesday, so as long as
Yes.
I have the
Well,
information.
I'll tell you, I'm happy to call Shannon, or if you will pull your phone out and I'll give you the number and you can call him and we can just handle it right here. Shannon may know off the top of his
Yeah.
head. I told him that this would be a likelihood, so they're expecting a call.
And I don't think this is gonna happen on every grant, but this is a grant going to,
I just, as long as everything is equal and equitable and consistent among all the different groups and members of the city, it's, you know, I've said it many times, I wanna be transparent, I wanna be honest, I want to, I wanna answer any questions that are legitimate and, you know, real concerns. At the same time, I don't wanna be held to a different standard.
but this is a grant that we're signing off on. If something happens with the school system, the grant, the TEMA, the FEMA, it's on our back. The city does not have this kind of money. So that, I think, is why people are very cautious on this board.
And
Now, I'm speaking for
You're also a
myself.
pass-through.
I can-
I want to make it clear that this is not specifically against this specific grant. It would be the same for the home grant. If that home grant's coming from the federal government, and also, I'll make a point that the only concern I have is because of the recent recidivism, or the
Yes.
pullback of money from, at the federal government.
Sure.
Like, if we've had administrations that have just let it go through and have not pulled back money that's allocated, I wouldn't have the concern.
Right.
It would be a different time, different
Sure.
point. That's the only reason the concern is there, is that it
Yes.
could be pulled back.
Well, we're gonna call Shannon, but I'll tell you, my understanding, which may or may not be accurate, is that the money for this contract is there, TEMA has it, and everything's good.
Okay,
The only money that would be even in play potentially would be additional funds.
yeah, and I understand that, and that would come from the TEMA side.
Now, I want to look you in the eye. I believe that to be the truth from what I've been told. If it's not, hopefully Shannon will be able to enlighten us.
Is
So,
the additional money coming from TEMA or the additional money
The
coming?
additional money will come from FEMA, but FEMA has to approve it.
It's leftover COVID money from FEMA.
Eric, before you all make the call, please for the record, keep it in the tape, announce your name as well as who we are calling so we can have a record on it.
I'm Eric Jones, and I'm calling Shannon Ball with TEMA. He's an administrator with TEMA. Okay.
And I'm Greg Kennedy.
Greg Kennedy,
Yeah, we're Bros Associates.
thank you.
Donna Holden and all the FEMA folks pop up. That's 946.
946 and then 582, I believe. It could be a 7. Give it a whirl.
No, I'll bring this up here. Thank you.
Make sure it's Shannon.
call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you
You can call Carrie.
No, yeah, just try here.
This isn't a normal process, so that doesn't surprise me.
Carrie.
For the record,
Carrie
Carrie
Cox.
Cothran, who's also with TEMA.
She's on speed out here somewhere.
What was Carrie's last name?
Cothran.
Hello, Miss Carrie, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
All right. Miss Carrie, I'm in a meeting right now with the mayor and board in Fayetteville.
I need to call Shannon.
Well, we tried, but Shannon goes straight to voicemail.
Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kennedy, can you put it so we can record it?
Oh, okay.
Make sure you got the number 615-946-5887.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, that's what we try to call.
Okay, I just sent him a message.
Oh, you mean just try him again?
I just sent him a message and said that you were trying to call him, because he messaged me yesterday and said that he would be more than glad to do something.
Okay.
That's good. 60. That's good. Give me the number again.
Give us the number again right quick, make sure we had it right.
615-946-5887.
Okay, I'm trying it now.
Eric's trying it on his phone right now.
That's his cell phone.
He's not
Your
answering.
call has been forwarded.
Yeah.
He went to voicemail on that one.
Apologies.
No, it's completely understandable. It's a workday. If you can communicate it and
Okay, all right.
either email it to the board or with the
I-
question that what
Yeah, you want
I'm
confirmation that
personally,
the money's in the bank.
yes, I just want that confirmation.
Yeah.
And when you came today, I wasn't sure what you were requesting earlier. Were you needing us to try to get the signature, us to vote today and get the signature, or
It
it's
would have been,
Tuesday?
it would have been nice. The initial request Richard made was for, the Monday prior to the last Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, which was after your work session. So we weren't able to get it in on that one. I was hoping we'd be able to, we weren't able to. So now that we're taking it here, as soon as, we've already missed a deadline as a result of that, so the sooner the better. But
So if it
you
were
know,
next
honestly,
Tuesday,
you know, without becoming frustrated, I'm always gonna be honest. It'd have been great to have it a month ago. Today's better than Tuesday, but it's not gonna be the end of the world if it's after Tuesday. Now, if it passes and everything works out, I'd love to have it Tuesday immediately after the meeting, because time is of the essence. Every day of delay is money lost, and additional delays in a exceedingly long process.
And go back to what Mr. Jones said about having given the mayor the authority. Say we're under construction, we get our first payout from the GC. Everything checks out, architect reviews it first, we put it in our systems, which calibrates your 95.5 breakout, and when the school district writes the check, as soon as we give them school districts, and as soon as we get that council check each month, that processes into a reimbursement request. Because, you know, the school district don't have $10 billion sitting in the bank, so we're gonna have to process a reimbursement every month, once this gets started. So we would like, and the mayor has to sign reimbursement.
And at the same time, that would take care of some of the procedural hurdles that we're experiencing. But if we have something like a new contract, then I'd like, and I don't really know how to go about it, but I think Greg's companies had these scenarios before. We try to do something where there's some type of a track record or something to base it on, so that we can move forward efficiently. And then if there are major changes or something that where everybody needs to be made aware of substantial or significant changes or adaptations, we could do that and potentially call a special meeting or something like that if there is something that's time to the essence. Because there are scenarios where with enough unnecessary delays, we could be in a, you know, once we've got a contract, we're in pretty good shape. But down the road, you know, if we've got this master plan and then things time out, you have to adapt your plan. So we're constantly changing and adapting. Makes it unwieldy. And realistically, I mean, the biggest part of the issue is not with us here locally. It's more of a federal and state interaction. But every bit that we can shore up and make sure is efficient is helpful.
Is there any
I
way
just
we?
don't trust the federal aspect of it.
And I'm kind of with you there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm not nearly as happy with some of the possibilities. As you know, if we could have done this 2 years ago and got it all done, it would have been, you know, pretty efficient. Unfortunately, potentially due to politics, there was zero movement for years, and you know, this isn't political. This is yeah.
Sorry to cut you off.
Just trying to do something.
No, that's okay. I was just gonna ask, is there a way we could do a vote today and move forward? I mean, just to see how the board feels about moving forward with the signature today.
But have we figured out if the money's there, where you ain't gonna get a hold to it?
Well, I mean, that's not a requirement for the
gentleman
vote.
who said he'd be
We've never
available
been
didn't answer,
required
so-
to get on the phone with somebody and get.
It's not a requirement for
Yeah.
a vote, but, and I know.
I'm
what
gonna
Eric
expect this
said.
requirement for every single federal grant that comes through here from here on out. And as
Well-
far as this signature too, I've got a
Go for it.
question about that. I never knew that we actually had to have a vote for mayor's signature on, and I understand this first one maybe. But are we saying that there's never a time that the mayor signs off on anything without board approval? I'm just wanting to make sure everything's clear and I understand.
There's a distinction between, say, a proclamation that, you know, claiming this to be, you know, some.
So is there a set amount of money involved? Like, say, for
think-
instance, she could sign something for 5,000, but not,
Yeah, it's,
I don't
it's,
know.
it's, in the time I've been here, I mean, it's been my understanding that contracts, for instance, that the mayor needs board approval for, and I can cite you to some occasions where that hasn't been done, it's created a problem in
okay.
past administrations, so.
Well, that's something we can look to for the future.
And I'm happy to have the conversation that Director Jones, mentioned about if we could set up some kind of process for more routine matters to be passed
I don't wanna
through.
invent the wheel, but if there's bound to be, other places are able to take advantage of these. And while we've been working on this, Greg has built two
Where are
and
those
finished them
other
out,
six
so.
in Tennessee that you mentioned?
I can with, Tima and Letchy, that's all they tell me is there's 6 more. There's 6 of these that was
Of
advertised,
the domes,
no, of safe rooms.
okay,
That
in
were,
Tennessee.
Which is the same type of mitigation grant.
yeah, it's the same program, but they're not domes, they're concrete block buildings.
But they're in Tennessee and went through the same
Yes,
thing.
Miss Donna Harper with Tima was the one that,
Holden.
Holden, she's the one that is over the financial part of it.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to know those locations too. And Eric, you mentioned,
Why, I mean, that's fine, but I don't know that it's germane, but, we
Well, I
can get
mean-
you that.
Yeah, it's, I mean, when it comes to a vote, it comes to a vote, and that's
Right.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
if the information's given to a point and some aldermen, that's all they need. I get that. But, so like, when it comes to Tuesday, if there's a vote,
Yeah.
and some of us
It'll be-
just don't feel like we're ready,
Yeah.
then that's part of the process. Like,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that's normal.
Can
And
we-
you guys have provided plenty of
Yeah,
info
I
up
mean,
to,
I
and
really
I
think
appreciate
we've
that.
been as transparent as we can be.
Carrie just texted me and said to call back.
No, we'll get with them, and then, unless the board of mayor and alderman wants to talk to them right now, I think it'd be fine.
I think
We'll just
we've
get back
probably,
with them.
I think if you can provide it before Tuesday, I think that's the request.
Yeah.
I don't wanna belabor the point too much here.
Now, are any of you gonna be in, I don't know that I'll be able to, Tima and FEMA don't work at my whim. So I don't know that I'll be able to get the names for all of the other, so.
No,
I don't see how
personally-
that's germane.
Me personally,
But-
that's not what I
Okay.
am concerned about.
She's calling me again.
no, that's fine. Eric, you mentioned political, this is not political for me, but in the past 4 years as mayor, I have not signed a contract
Yeah.
or
and that's
anything
fine.
financial without this board's approval, because it obligates, whatever I sign obligates this board, maybe for this year, it may be for next year, it may be for 20 years. I'm not gonna put that on my shoulders without their approval, and that's what our charter municipal codes say, and that's what I'm gonna
Yeah,
follow.
and please understand, I'm not requesting that you do that in any way, shape, or form. I'm requesting, when you have an opportunity to, put something before the board, with a deadline, that you take advantage of that, or that we have some type of, an agreement, so that we've had numerous votes for, pay apps and things like that. I think everything's always been 100%, except one time, potentially with one alderman, and that was reasonable. If there is a spirit of goodwill toward the project from the board, there are some minor procedural stuff that we can handle potentially. I don't want to go off, on a tangent, but if that's reasonable, I'd like for that to be considered. If there's like an MOU or something of that nature. And then for major things, we need to just,
Anytime
Bring it forward.
there's a signature requirement or anything like this, we've called special sessions for less. So
I appreciate your comment.
Absolutely
I
no
didn't,
reason to.
I didn't want to say that because it sounds accusatory.
Anytime
No,
we meet,
we've had some
But
silly
I'm very aware, but I appreciate you saying that, Mr. Keenan. That's exactly my point. And I would like to be afforded the same opportunity.
Can you verify, is there some way to verify that the money has come from the federal government into the state's hands?
Well, that's what they were
believe
wanting
we're
to
gonna-
do.
That's really what everybody's concerned about.
I mean, they can today, and we
Give it
can
a
vote
whirl.
today, or we can move it on to Tuesday. But no, they're saying they don't want to talk now.
No, they actually has been called.
And on a lot of grants that we have received, once I sign off, especially with like FPU, once I sign off on their grants, procedural things does not obligate any more money. It doesn't, if it's a big change, yes, it has to come before the board, but just procedural signatures I can do. But for this approval, on a contract or any contract, whether it's FPU, anybody other than the city, and for the city, this is the process, and I'm sorry.
I know where you're coming from, because I sat in your place for 13 years as a mayor.
Okay. And you totally understand.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't think anybody on the board's against the room or against the school system. I think what it is given the way things have gone on the federal level in the last year, we're a little unsteady about that money.
And
Because
it coming back to us.
I've written federal grants and you jump through all these hoops.
No, I'm done with them.
Okay, let's just move this on to.
Would you like to
Tuesday?
propose a vote now, or do you think if we get the info by
No,
Tuesday?
because I mean, you're wanting more
Frankly, I would
information,
prefer
right?
to wait
You're
till
wanting
Tuesday so
confirmation.
I just like to
that
know.
the official teacher
I think the best we can do now is a straw poll.
Normally when we.
This is not a.
They're recommending
formal,
down
this is a
and
work
wait till
session.
Tuesday, so let's just.
And we didn't have noticed this as a meeting where
Oh,
we'd be
okay.
voting on
That's
something.
exactly
and
right.
we could have conceivably had a special called meeting along with, I mean, the problem with a special called meeting is always, can you get a quorum? And, we could have certainly had a special called meeting knowing that everybody was gonna be here, but we didn't notice that. But is there any reason, Mayor, why you couldn't sign this immediately after the meeting on Tuesday
No.
night? So-
I was
It's
gonna
approved by
ask
the
if we
board,
could
I'll
add that
sign
to the vote, that if it does pass, if it could be signed that evening.
Yeah, I always get everything signed right after the board. We hang around,
It's customary that we actually, Mary and I, we get together. Soon as the meeting, we go right over there and sign
Okay.
everything.
This is what we've done at every meeting.
And
After
it's
the
good.
meeting, after the
It's
vote,
it's a
we
legitimate
sign.
question. I will take it to them. I will let them know how I feel about them not answering the phone when I call. And, they will get the less neighborly version of Eric Jones. So
Thank you. Thank you.
I
Eric.
appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But we're gonna move it ahead, right?
Move it to Tuesday. Okay, and Loretta?
Go on, Loretta.
Have you-
See whether cameras open. Oh, the last item I have is our monthly report. Which you have on your desk, and we will have the, we'll also load those for Tuesday night. The detailed financials, those are 4 items that were received in November. We're currently working on December, and we will have those mid-year reports for the February meeting. The local option sales tax received in December was $342,094. This is an increase of 4.5% over this month last year. State share sales tax was $79,132. That's an increase of 3.6%. Occupancy tax was $8,966. That is a decrease of 29.7%. That one continues to remain a concern.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm concerned. Can you see if
Anybody-
it's
That's my
going up?
report. Anybody have any questions?
Has there been a closure of one of our major hotels? Is that, no, there hasn't. Okay.
There is
Because that was a
reason.
rumor.
There's a reason, but I'm not saying it in
Okay,
here that I
okay.
know that I can talk about later, but there's something going on.
And I have had an opportunity to talk to Elise Hampton, so there's some things going on there. I have not had a chance to inform her about it, but there's some things going on with them. that's
I just didn't know if
probably
there was a
impacted
closure or something.
Kevin, can you let all of us know?
Well, they're having
At
some
some
real
point,
problems, yeah, they're having some real problems, and I,
We
Because it's-
questioned them last year too, right? And we've been questioning them for a while, because it just does not make sense.
and I will get it to you. I had a chance to talk to the manager. It's some issues going on over there. I have not verified, but she did confirm that they having some real issues, and it was a possibility or a rumor of possibly a sale that was gonna happen pretty early in the year.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we are prepared to go get money. If something happens and they're not even giving it to the state, that we're prepared to go to the state and make either a claim or a something. Because
And,
it's,
and it may be legal, and I will update you on with what I know, but it is some concerns over there right now. And I did talk to the manager, I think, a couple of days before Christmas. It's a couple of things going on over there.
Our money comes off occupancy rate though, and that's where the problem is. If you can't make reservations, you're not gonna have occupancy.
Correct.
Okay, so you're saying that it's, I
There's
see, that's what I
There's
don't
issues,
trust, is
yeah.
that, because we have seen the numbers, that people are coming here.
Yes.
And the number that they're paying to occupancy tax does not line up. That's my concern.
And I don't know for a fact, I just have heard, so I don't, that's why I'm saying I don't wanna say what I know, but our numbers from them, comes off occupancy. If they've got less, I don't think they're not paying their taxes, it's occupancy rate, isn't it? Or is it? I don't know, I won't.
We'll
yeah,
talk
I won't
offline.
put you-
We'll talk offline. I will explain to you what I know offline.
So, that's my report.
Thank you, Loretta. And last but not least, we're moving to administration, and that is with, Kevin Owens, City Administrator.
Good morning, Happy New Year. I will start my report. The first request, we're gonna ask to be able to apply for the Community Development Block Grant. This is a grant that we have had several years ago. The deadline is early February, and we're working with possibly South Central, but we want to be able to apply for the grant. The staff and I had a chance to meet probably November now and look at some possibilities that we could use the CDBG funds. One was sidewalk development, paving, kids park, possibly the fire station 2 needs a roof, and even maybe possibility of purchasing the craft building for future expansions, especially with the Brownfield grant. But right now, we're looking and we're researching, and we want permission to apply for the CDB grant that will be due in early February.
Do you have those grant documents you can send us?
I can.
Do we need to move this on to Tuesday for the board to approve for us?
Yes, ma'am, because I
Permission to
think if
apply?
we do decide, it would be quite late in the February meeting.
I do know on the, city, DBG grants that if we apply, there is a public hearing that has
That's
to be
correct.
held.
They
before
would do
the
that
city.
as well.
So,
That's correct. And I will get you the application information on board.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Owens?
Yes, ma'am. If I can just shoot off a few things. Of course, we're working on strategic planning. Just want to let everybody know that that date is January 31st. We are anticipating between 8 a.m. until about maybe 4 that day. So it will be a long day, but the format should be close to the same as last year. If y'all have any input, let us know. You will get a series of emails from Debbie and I. We met with the facilitator, Mr. Marsh, earlier this week. The mayor was included, and just to get everything together. So we're working on that. Debbie is working on emails, so we can get your lunch orders and all the things that would be required for you all prior. So if the weather's good, we will be moving on January 31st, and it will be held at the EMA building. I don't have the address before me, but I will get it to you all before that time. And now, in that session, we're gonna have we have some briefing on fleet management, entertainment district, and what to do with the 65,000 that Loretta mentioned from the William D. Jones. So those will be some things that we will discuss within that meeting. And Debbie will give a public notice so the public will know that we will be discussing those items as well. In addition, Loretta did mention some things about the mid-year and the audit, and we're doing pre-budget information. Loretta has been gracious. She has agreed to come back to be with us when we present the mid-year as well as the audit. She has been working on the mid-year so we can have a big understanding where we are as of December 31st. So we would know how we're performing in that particular budget. We're in the process of looking for a replacement. We have started the interview process at the end of December, and that will continue probably throughout the end of January, maybe even early February. but we're looking for that, and we're also going through some other transition processes. I have notified the mayor and the vice mayor that we're gonna have to do some things with the banking, so between now and the time we meet next month, we will be dealing with the bank and all the stuff we need to transition as Loretta departs us. We have started, and one of the things that we have been working, Loretta's help, we're trying to get a former inventory system. So we have started that, and we'll continue beyond the time that Loretta's here, but we're working with staff to do what we need to do so we can have and adopt a former inventory system. We've been working as far as what we do with the homeless. Wanda is here, and Wanda asked me in the early first cold spell, what do we do if we have homeless on the street or people without heat and shelter in the middle of coldness? So staff did meet about 2 weeks ago, and we think we put together a good plan what to do if we have anybody homeless. So I will be sharing that plan. I need to formalize it, and I will be sharing that plan. We do have about 15,000 in ADA funds that need to be expended in this particular fiscal year. So we're trying to get that moving between now and May. So Chris and I are sort of kind of figuring out what we're gonna do with that 15,000. As I mentioned, we dealing with a lot of grants. We talked to TDOT about the multimodal, and Jack mentioned that we want to get those balls rolling. We had a very productive meeting about 2 weeks ago, and we are really trying to formalize how we get this moving, as well as the TAP grant and any other grants we want to apply for. So we try to be really active with that. I am working on the 1803 Winchester property. Back before, around Christmas, we developed what is going to be probably a 60-day plan that we're hoping to have everything cleared. We started that plan, or we put that into place the week going into Christmas, so hopefully by mid-February or so, we should be able to have a public auction. We're in the process now of doing a survey and appraisals on that property, so we're still working on that. And 2 more closing. We had a very good inclement weather policy and protocol meeting on Tuesday. So we would know what to do or how to act if we have any emergency situations where the snow. We're having a lot of flooding tomorrow, rain is expected. Tornadoes, so we did what to do as far as how we get to the public. If crews go out, where to start. So we met between police, park, fire department, the mayor, administration. So we think we have a good call on that. Debbie has developed notes, and I will also make sure you all get that. And my final note for now, we have transitioned animal control to the police department. It's going quite well. We do have another big meeting, which will be on Wednesday the 14th, and that will be with the county, because we are looking not only how to operate today, but how to operate in the future. So we're still planning, but we have done, since the police department has taken it over, we have had a lot of chances to do a lot of creative things with it. And if you all have any more ideas, let us know, because we're still planning. And unless you all have any questions, that's my report for January.
Any questions? Okay. That completes our business for today. I do just want to make a public announcement that the city and the county are working together, and we're trying to come up with a celebration for the 250th year of America. And so we'll be working probably with the Parks and Recs and different people to come up with some type of celebration. So with that, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, I had at 6:30. Let me eat something. Talking about me.
There's usually a race between me and you.
Yeah.
I didn't have it today.
I was ready today. I said, and when you came at 9:30, I said, oh boy. Uh-oh.
wanna email me?
Think of what? You know what, I've been thinking it was.
They may have to.
I'm gonna put that in, so we, yes.
Okay.